Welcome back.
We're back. Yay. Welcome to 2024.
It's a new year.
It's a new year. Yes. Where has the time flown?
Wow. It's like mind-blowing that this is a new year. Well, I mean, I don't know about you. I'm just getting back to work today and realizing that I have stacks of stuff this year that I have to catch up on.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. I actually, so I was like, go into January 29th, that Friday. I thought I was going to take that Friday off and I had to work and got the things done. And then I ended up on January 2nd, I ended up getting a really bad flu.
Is it flu? You're not COVID, are you? A lot of people are getting COVID again.
No, I tested. I am COVID negative.
Well,
yes.
Not to be too political, but it is about time for COVID to come back. It is an election year. For my people who are hate me for that statement.
You're so bad. You're so bad.
I'm not saying which side of the politics created it, because I think they both did.
Whatever works, man.
Anyway, tonight's show is, ladies and gentlemen, is just a little bit about dry January. I know Glass has some points that she put up onto it, but there's some discussion points. Really, we don't have a drink. We don't have really food other than we're snacking. I don't know. Yeah. I got chips and bar nuts, right? What you'd find on the counter.
Chex Mix and tomatoes. I actually have pretzels over here.
I didn't have pretzels, and I meant to go to the store today and get them, but I was so busy I never went to the store.
I love pretzels. I always like to keep pretzels around. The only thing with pretzels that I have is that whenever I want pretzels, I also want to drink something. And so sometimes I don't want to drink. And so whenever I have that salty and beer for me go very well together, salty and beer. That's just my thing. That's what I like. And so one of the things is that if I stay away from salty, then I'm not going to want the beer either. So there are a few tips out there that, well, there's a lot of benefits, a lot of health benefits to dry January. And for some people, dry January is their thing. It is becoming more popular than it has been in the past. More people are doing it because they see the health benefits there. You know, after the holidays, they've done all their partying and they've drank a lot. And now they're saying, you know what, I need to start healthy again. And so then they say, I'm going to go through dry January. But how successful are they going to be? So part of it is looking at, why are you trying to reduce your alcohol consumption? Is it because you're seeing that you're reaching towards the alcohol because you're trying to cover up, if you will, or you're trying to cope? You're trying to cope with something, whatever that something is. Other times it's because it says, the first drink is for, to relax me, and the next three are for my wit and my good sense of humor. But as we drink more, each of us, our bodies react a little bit differently to the drink. And depending on what you're drinking, if you're drinking beer or hard alcohol or wine, our bodies might react differently. Some people, they become happy drunks. Others become very tired drunks. Others become very obnoxious drunks. And so it just depends, and do you like that person? And then the next day, do you like that person? And I said to somebody, you know what, don't be talking to the drunk person, to the sober person, because the drunk one was around when all of that happened. So talk to them about it, So we really need to find ways to maybe reduce our alcohol consumption. And sometimes the dryness doesn't work for some. During COVID, because of all that everybody was going through, 25% of people drank more than they usually drank. And so it was because of that, dealing with life's challenges. That's a lot of times why people go to that. And I actually know somebody that went from drinking too much to exercising. So she replaced alcohol with exercise. So sometimes we have to find, what are we going to replace the alcohol with? Are we going to replace it with a mocktail, or are we going to replace it with something else? Some people turn to cigarette smoking. I just read Matthew Perry's book, And he was talking about, how he had some struggles with drinking. It was like, it got to the point where he was he was drinking so much, he was smoking, and then he started going into the oxycodone and other things, and how it affected his life. I mean, he got to the point where his intestines burst, and if he didn't stop the drinking, he was not gonna be able to really have a normal life. But he always knew, he goes, he had this problem where some people can stop drinking, others cannot. So for those that are struggling with the drink, there is the Substance Abuse and Mental Services Administration that operates a confidential line for people that feel that they're struggling. So that number that they have is 1-800-662-4357. That's 1-800-662-4357. If you think you have a problem, you know what? Give a call. Ask for some help. And sometimes trying to do it on our own is not enough. But besides the dry January, I started reading a little bit more about damp January, which, being in the Pacific Northwest, usually January is pretty damp out here. People do, Pacific Northwest, we're out and about doing the things, as my mama would say. She's like, oh, well, it's raining. It's like, Mama, if we wait for it to stop raining in the Pacific Northwest, we'll never do anything. So
Right.
dealing with damp January. So what is damp January? That is when people are making an effort to drink less. They see the benefits, but they don't want to completely give up their drinking. And partly is sometimes because I don't want to be forced to not have something that I enjoy. When they did, someone was telling me about the something 75 days of no drinking. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to exercise twice a day, one of the times outside. And there was something else. So there's like multiple things you needed
That's like
to do.
the 75 hard or something like that. It's called.
That's the one. Yes. And I'm like, every 7 days I'd be starting over. And they're like, why? I said, I do a podcast on alcohol and drinking and food. I said, so I can do all the other things, but every Monday I'm going to start all over because I'm doing the podcast. And it doesn't matter that I only take a sip, or if it's an ounce or 2 ounces, it's not much. If we're going to be true to what it requires, that means absolutely nothing. That means every Monday I'm on a reset, and on Tuesday I'm starting all over again every week. Not willing to do that. So sometimes it's, what are we willing to do? Mind you, I've been sick for a little bit over a week now, so I have not had any alcohol. It just didn't even sound good. It's like, but I am sick of soups. I've done all the different soups, and I've, changed them around, and I'm like, I don't want any more soup. Somebody offered me a soup today. I'm like, no. So they brought me a sandwich, left it outside my door of my office. And they're like, here you go. And I'm like, thank you. But there's so many different things that we can do, to stay away from alcohol or reduce. So there's 4 things that this one particular blogger, what the heck's her name? Julia Pukajevsky. What she says is that she's been doing damp January instead of dry January, and it's a better way for her to change her drinking habits, because what she was finding was that when she did dry January, then she was making up for it in February or March. And so by looking at different ways of doing things, a lifestyle is finding alternative cocktails or mocktails. So instead of, maybe she'll do a cocktail and then a mocktail, doing a phony Negroni. It's like, so she'll have a martini and then a phony Negroni for the rest of the evening, or stock up on non-alcoholic options. So there's a lot of non-alcoholic options, beer that we've had on the podcast, as well as also hard liquors. Monday is one of them that they do have alcohols that are non-alcoholic cocktails. And then journaling. What are you drinking? There's a commercial that she said, well, on Monday, I went to happy hour. And so that was 3 drinks. And then there was the going away for so-and-so. So there was the 2 drinks, and then went to blah, blah, blah. So that's this. And then, oh yeah, Friday was something else. And then, oh yeah, Sunday brunch was another 3 mimosas. And so there's all these drinks, and it's like going, oh, wow. When you start tracking what you're putting in your body. That's a great way to really track, because I will do that when I'm tracking my food. I will also track my food and beverage. If I've had a scotch, I put the scotch in there. If I know that in the morning that I say, okay, I know what my breakfast is. That's my protein shake every day. Then for dinner, I'm going to have this for dinner, and I'm going to be drinking a couple of old fashions. I put that in there to say, okay, how many calories do I have left to be able to use today? Because I don't want to go over. And if I do, I know that I'm going over. Well, did I run? Did I do my exercise? Did I do the things? So, tracking is one great way to really stay on top of things. And then prioritizing activities that don't center around drinking. So who are you hanging out with? Is it the buddies that want to go to the bar, or is it the buddies that just want to go for a coffee or hang out or play games? So depending on the social situations could also cause you to feel more okay to drink than under other social situations. So putting yourself in situations that are going to help you. So that's where we've kind of figured we'd bring up dry January, but also give you the option of damp January, so that you can just reduce your consumption instead of eliminating it completely.
Well, one of the articles I read was about, instead of calling it dry January, why not visit your favorite pub January? It doesn't mean you're going there to drink. It still means you're going there. You have something to eat.
Yeah.
All right. You can have a drink or you can't have a drink. It doesn't matter. All right. But at least go there and buy the food. It keeps the pub in business. Right.
Right.
And it helps you socialize in an atmosphere where there is alcohol and you just don't have to partake.
Exactly. And the other thing that we could do is sometimes I'll go to a pub, and after a happy hour, it's like, so I did the happy hour drink, and then because it was right there, then the next one is, do I really need a second drink and pay the full price? Well, maybe not. It depends. So sometimes if we just are very conscientious of how much we're spending, that also will make a difference on, how are we supporting, but when we're also looking after our own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I forgot I'm going to grab my little guy over here, but one of the cocktails or mocktails, I should say, I didn't want to do the coffee martini because I didn't need the caffeine this late. I didn't sleep very well. My cough was just horrible last night, and so I'm like, I don't need to stay up. So, but the other one that I saw that I've done, only I never thought about making it into a mocktail. I just had it, was a mojito.
Mm-hmm.
And the hydration people, they have this liquid IV. They have this particular one that's their non-alcoholic electrolyte drink mix, and this particular one is their mocktail one. So they have pina colada and cucumber mojito. So this one was one that I thought, oh, this is awesome, because and they taste like cucumber mojito. It really does, and it tastes like pina colada. So what I was going to do, but my cough is acting up, so I won't do the pina colada. What I was going to do was mix this with ice and blend it to make like a blended pina colada, to make it, and then put the cherry in there, because, a lot of times pina coladas will have the maraschino cherries in there. So I was planning on doing that, but I'm not going to do it because that's too much ice and I'll start coughing up. But the one I did want to do was the cucumber mojito, because there was when you're making your mojito, of course, I have my mint and my lime juice in here. Sometimes we want a little bit more of the flavor to come out. And if we're not using our something else that will enhance the flavor of it, we might just go, well, it's water. I want it to feel like I'm having a mojito and not just mask it, make it like a watered down drink. You don't want that. So I did have this, and I'm going to add a little bit of water to it in a second, but treat it like a mojito, and muddle it down, and the muddling really enhances the flavor, because it gets the oils from the mint to come out. And oh my goodness, the smell of that is absolutely delicious. And all I'm doing is not putting in the rum. So I'm still going to make a mojito. It's going to be as though I'm making a cocktail. I'm just going to, miss the alcohol piece of it. You could put simple syrup, or you can put sugar into this one. I have a natural sugar that I'm going to be using for this particular one. And let me get my spoon.
Oh,
So a little bit of sugar, because a lot of cane sugar is also a great one to use for mojitos whenever you're doing that. And then, of course, if you have your little juicer, you can definitely use your juicer, or you can also add a little bit of your lime juice in there if you feel like, you know what, that lime didn't have a lot of juice, because sometimes our limes are so dry. So that's another way that you can enhance it, you know, and just muddle, muddle, muddle. For this particular one, I'm going to add a little bit of the cucumber mojito with a little bit of water. There's no sugar in this. At least I don't think there's any sugar in it. Added, there's 11 grams of sugar. So there is sugar in this. A lot of times people tell me, oh, you shouldn't be drinking that. There's added sugars. You know what? Depends on how the sugar is processed. And then, so you add a little bit of the flavor, but then you're also adding, that was part of the reason why I came home to do it today, because I knew I had all my stuff here. You can add your fresh cucumber also to your, you know, so I can also add cucumber in here and muddle that in there too. You know, so actually get a little bit of that fresh cucumber. So cucumber, mint, lime, it's just, you know, so yummy. And put it into a pretty glass, because a lot of times when we're putting things in a pretty glass, they just look a lot prettier. I had volunteered one time, and I wanted, because I was volunteering, I was running all over the place. I wanted to stay hydrated, and I wanted my sparkling water. And so I said, I want sparkling water, but I want it in a goblet. So they gave me this really pretty wine glass. And every time they saw me come in, they just fill up my my glass. And it was like absolutely delicious. I was walking around with, you know, a lemon and a lime rind inside the glass. And I was just, you know, all cutesy with it. So then I'm going to top it off with, so there's two ways to top off the mojito. You can either make it more into a mule and add the your like cotton
ginger beer, yeah.
Or you can just use, in this case, I'm doing San Pellegrino, and I'm just gonna add this to it. You can add ice to it if you want. I'm not gonna add ice just because I don't want any more coldness. But then, you know, you just can add your lime or your cucumber rind in there. You can add a pretty straw to it or just drink it. And this is, oh my goodness, this is very refreshing. It because of the fresh mint in there, it almost tastes as though there's alcohol in there. It's got a little bit of a bite to it. Mm-hmm. So, that is very yummy.
I'm just drinking San Pellegrino by itself tonight.
Oh, I love yeah. The sparkling waters I absolutely love. They just have such great taste.
I've taken the San Pellegrino and mixed it with a juice, cranberry juice.
Oh, yes.
Apple juice. You know, I don't think I've ever done with orange juice, but apple juice, like things like that. And it just gives a little fizz to your drink. All right. It's just like, you know, I mean, the old days we used to have ginger ale. I don't really have ginger ale in the house anymore. I got more ginger beer than ginger ale. So,
yeah, you can, and I added more of the San Pellegrino, which, you know, reduced it a little. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the lime juice in there, because where the water was, it was perfect. But because I added more of it, it reduced the flavor. So I'm like, okay, I need to add more of my my liquid IV. So this is this multiplies your water intake. So for every 1 glass of water, it's as though you're drinking 4 glasses of water. So there's something in the chemical composition of it that helps hydrate. So that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Usually I just add water to it. There's the tropical one, but now the pina colada. What I was going to do is I was going to get the pineapple juice, the packet of that, and with ice and blend it, because I wanted the pina colada flavor, but also the fresh pineapple juice to go with it. So that's, you know, there's various ways that you can make these drinks look delicious, sound delicious. It is pretty glassy. And the cucumber flavors in there too. That's really good. I like that.
I used to have a cucumber seltzer water at the house all the time.
Okay.
I don't think we get it anymore. A lot of things got discontinued during COVID.
Right.
Well, but I was going to say, if you go to the bar and you drink and you can't stop, that's when you need to get help. All right. I can go to any bar, have a drink, and probably switch to water very easily. All right. Because I don't think I ever go to a bar and have 3 drinks. As a matter of fact, I probably can count on one hand and have many fingers left over how many times I've had 3 drinks at a bar.
Yeah, it gets very expensive. It gets very, very expensive. Now, the other thing I was going to do, and I'm not going to do it just yet, but this particular guy that was in my office neighbor gave me some of this. It is ginger honey. There's also either lemon or orange. I haven't figured out if there's lemon or orange in there, but you can make your own. You can get fresh ginger. I usually keep my ginger in the freezer, but if you have fresh ginger, you can slice it up. You can add a honey to it, make it like a toddy. Add your water, but then add your citrus in there. And of course your sugar if you want, but a lot of times with the honey, you don't need additional sugar. And it just makes this warming, delicious tea. And then you put it into a pretty cup. Because I was sick, I was putting my teas, even if it was my Theraflu, I was putting it in a pretty cup because I wanted to feel good about that. You know what? This is my pretty cup. Yeah, it's for coffee, for a cappuccino. But you know what? If I have my wide coffee mug with just all pretty on the inside and I'm like sipping on this, it just feels like I'm at a little cafe. You know, when you have those pretty warm, mugs and you're just curled up. I didn't have the fireplace going, but if I had the fireplace going, curled up on the couch, even if I wasn't feeling well and I'm having my hot tea, it's almost like having hot cocoa and you're just enjoying. Those are some of the ways to make things. Our brains don't know the difference. So it's a way to step away from it all, from feeling sick or feeling overwhelmed into your space. And having that is so important. And if we can find that in our life to make ourselves feel better for our mental health, it makes a huge difference. So find those mocktails, because sometimes there's a lot of bars now that will carry other things other than alcohol. A lot of the my 5K runs that I do, they will have root beer. I don't like root beer, but they'll have root beer or they'll have kombucha or other things that are non-alcoholic, especially for the kiddos. But when you are doing things with a group of people, after you've ran a 5K, you're going to have your beer. You're like, I just ran a 5K. I don't know that I want that second beer. One beer's enough, and especially because it was included in the price of admission into the race. A lot of times that's all that's needed, just a little bit of something, the camaraderie. What we're craving, individually is there's just that being around people, feeling significant, not feeling sad or depressed, and having ran gives us our endorphins that we need. Being around people, energizes us. So doing the things that will give us energy and make us feel good are other ways that, can reduce a little bit of our consumption. And mind you, we're all about the drink. We do love the way we drink. We like the way, and you need to like the way you drink. If you don't like it, you're just drinking a drink, then it defeats the purpose. We got to enjoy.
So
this is very yummy. I really like this. I'm glad I hadn't tried it. I was going to experiment this weekend, but I didn't. But the cucumber mojito was really good. Costco, it has it on sale. I don't know until when they were on sale. The price went up dramatically around COVID. I was like, what the heck, man? It used to be $18 for the pack. It went up to $28. I got it on sale for $20, but they weren't tasting the cucumber mojitos or the pina coladas because it evokes drinking. And so they can't have the kiddos even taste it, even though there's non-alcoholic. So they were not tasting it at Costco, but I figured I was going to like it because I love pina or I love pineapple and the pina colada and I love cucumber and mojitos. So I'm like, I'm going to like it. And I do. and the lady was so cool. She goes, here's some samples. And I was like, I'll take those too. So, so thank you so much. Liquid IV. There's others out there, but this is the one that I like. This is the one that I use. And it helps me drink more water because I am horrible when it comes to drinking water. And I know I have to be thirsty to drink because I didn't, it was forced upon me when I was a kid that I had to drink water. If I couldn't drink water until I finished my food. And then once I finished my food, I'm drinking water. It just didn't go down well. But this is so
I always
good.
said there was water in my coffee.
Right? Exactly.
They started with water to make that moonshine. I'm just saying it.
That's right. So we have plenty of water to go around. But yeah, I've been sharing it. Sean's dad, when I saw that they also had some of this stuff, I'm like, oh, yay. It's whatever's going to help with getting the hydration in. This last week, I've been a lot better at drinking a lot more water and fluids and liquids. And of course, absolutely no alcohol, which is fine. And I think both you and I go through those periods where we're not drinking anything. I think last January, we hardly drank. I think it was a very damp January because we spent the whole month on a dry January.
We did. Yeah, we spent the whole month on it. We decided we're not doing that this year.
Oh, there's my cucumber.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah, it was. We just wanted to do one show on it this year because of the fact that we're not in the business of encouraging people to go heavily become alcoholics. We're in the business of sharing what we like and what pairs with it and what goes with it. And there's a guy giving me estimates this weekend on windows. He was here at the house and I was telling him about the show. Hold on, I got his card here somewhere. Oh, I lost his card already. I'm sorry. I think his name is Jim. Jim, all right. If you hear this on the recording, all right, I'm giving you your shout out. But he was saying, it's like, well, what is that about? I says, we don't really. It's not just drinking. It's all about what goes with the drink. What do you eat? And it goes back to, all right, if you go into a bar and you get that first drink and you can't stop, drinking may not be for you. But I say that as I took one potato chip.
And they're all gone.
Right? I'm bringing this up for a point, guys. We are a show where we have to enjoy things, right? But too often what we get into, what we start eating, what we start drinking, all right, it is a habit, not an enjoyment anymore, right?
Yeah.
You start on a bag of chips. It's why every time I have chips, now we have bags of chips in our house almost all the time. I will fill a bowl up and I will
that's all you're going to.
That's it. Right.
Yeah.
And that's, if you can't stop, don't have a bag sitting in front of you because your stomach feels gross after eating a bag of potato chips.
Yeah. Right? I had somebody that wanted me to pass the potato chips and I'm like, you're on your diet. It's like, no, it's like, hand me the bag. And I'm like, no, if you want the bag of chips, you're going to get your tush. You're going to come and get it. And then you're going to grab it. And you're going to be mad at me. And that's fine. I don't care. But I'm not handing you the bag of chips. And it was like, ugh. And I'm like, so are you going to get it? It's like, no. And I was like, all right. So at least for right now, you're not going to add those additional chips that you don't need, that you're just wanting to munch on something.
Yeah.
Let's do something else. And I do sometimes and I don't know why I do this. I'll count the number of chips. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's not like, because the back of the bag will tell you what's a serving. And and when I'm counting my calories, which I do sometimes on my fitness app, I need to know. And so then I need to know how many chips I'm eating so that I know. And then, of course, if it's a half a chip and a half a chip, well, then that's one chip.
Mm-hmm.
I will count it, because it's like, all right, well, I had 15 chips, all right, let's put it in there, whether I like it or not. And some days it's like, oh, I went way over. It's like, but I'm still tracking it. And that's the important thing, is that we track and we know where we're at, and just do that journaling, track how many drinks, it's, put it on your calendar, on your phone, put it as a message to yourself, text it to yourself, whatever it is, whatever's going to help you. Make it easy, because if it's not easy, you're not going to do it.
Right. If you are going to make things easy, it'll never work.
Yeah. You got to do simple and easy. just like Tim is constantly telling us, simple and easy. Everything we do. Yeah. And if you make it simple and easy, then it can become an easy habit. And when it becomes an easy habit, we're going to be consistently doing it. And if we're consistently doing it, then that is going to be what we are always doing and how we are managing things. And it'll go into multiple aspects of our life. So,
Cheers.
Cheers. This is very yummy. I really enjoy this. It feels like a cocktail. It really does.
Wow. So I got your Christmas present over the holidays.
It was just a gift that I had been meaning to send to you for a while.
Got me some more moonshine. Yeah. Now I have 3 or 4 more containers of it. Yeah.
Well, but that was a very particular one. I don't think you had that one.
No, I don't, because the Jim Tom signature one is very hard to find in Texas. I would love to find the Sugarlands. Now, the other one I'd love to find is Sugarlands. I think it's called Daytona. I think
that was the one I was. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for when I was in Tennessee, and I couldn't find it. So you got this one instead.
It is the one tough one to find. All right. And I think outside of the, outside of the Appalachian Mountain area, it's kind of hard to get. I think it's local only for that one. All the other ones, all the other sugary brands. Now I had one of them that was, I forget which brand it was, but it was butterscotch. I took it to one of my Christmas parties and I never brought it home. It got finished off, but it was a very, very light alcohol. It wasn't a heavy alcohol. It wasn't a heavy burn. I have a butterscotch scotch up here that is got a little burn to it. Butterscotch is a very, very sugary, very, very smooth taste to it. So, but anyway, this Jim Tom one is the signature one is a corn based. My favorite in moonshine is the the triple, the corn, the malted barley, and the what's the third thing? Corn, malted barley, and wheat. I think I can't think what the third thing is. There's 3 into it, and there's 3 people who make it.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them is this Tim Smith, and it says on here, if I can only read close enough.
Right. I'd need my reading glasses. Oh, look, I'm wearing them. These are my computer glasses, so I can actually read.
This one here it's corn, malted barley, and rye.
Okay, and I almost said rye, but I didn't think there would be rye in it. I should have just blurted out rye.
This is my favorite. Tim Smith's is my favorite. So, and that's getting harder and harder to get here in the Dallas area as well. Tim Smith, if you were listening to our podcast, hook me up, brother. I want some of your Climax Moonshine in Dallas.
There you go.
I used to have, if you go look at one of the pages we broadcast to is my Facebook page called Bartender Life Coach. And it actually has a picture of the line of old bottles of Climax Moonshine that I cleaned out during the pandemic.
Wow. Okay.
I had I think a dozen of them. Yeah.
I didn't realize that those were yours. Okay.
They were mine.
Very cool.
At the beginning of the pandemic, I would. This is the one I used to sit and sip on. And I actually, during the pandemic, we were talking about it on one of Craig's mastermind calls one day. And I said to Craig, I said, that I've been to your events and brought moonshine. And he goes, really? I thought so. And I'm like, some events I've been to, that if it's openly, like if I openly carry in a mason jar, it is not moonshine. All right. I'm just being honest. If I openly carry a mason jar in, it is not moonshine, unless it is clear. Unless it is clear. So like it's usually an iced tea I have in a mason jar. But everybody's like, well, is that moonshine? No, that's iced tea. If it's clear, it's moonshine.
There you go. And
I usually don't bring the moonshine I don't carry the clear bottle down because that's a huge red flag, right? It may look like water, but the way you sip it, it's not water.
Right. Exactly. Nobody's going to be chugging that.
Yeah. So anyway, dry January does not have to be a punishment, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're trying to get on today's broadcast. Dry January can be something you can do to actually understand whether it's time to make changes in your life, right? A lot of people set, your New Year's resolutions. I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I've never have set them, never will. All right. I'm more about creating habits that create success. People who are going to set New Year's resolutions to try things. All right. And I think it's January 19th they give up every year. Right. I am all about setting habits that set you up for success. In other words, all right, if you know when you walk into a bar that you take one drink, one beer, and you can't stop, you have a problem. That's a problem you need to address. All right. I have moonshine out on my shelf. I bet you that it's been here for 2 or 3 years and I haven't opened yet.
Well, I sometimes my scotch will last me over a year. Yeah. I had one Oban bottle that was given to me. Sean gave it to me. And this was a couple of years ago. He gave it to me in January. And then in December, I'm at the last of it. I'm like, it's the last of it. And I'm pouring it into my glass. And I'm like, the last of it. It lasted me a year. Yeah. My bottle, a single malt bottle of scotch, it was 18-year-old. That one, I sipped on that for a year. That's my special one. It was very yummy. And sometimes I would only drink just a little bit, not even a full shot, just, a few ounces, 1 or 2 ounces is where I would at, because I just wanted just a little bit of a sip, just to, it's that yumminess, sometimes after dinner or sometimes pre-dinner, just because I had a hard day and I'm like, I deserve this right now. So, do the fun, special things for yourself, put them in pretty glasses, garnish your food, garnish your drinks, truly enjoy. And when you start enjoying, because it's like, why would I do that for myself? I did that for myself all the time. I would post my food and it was just for me. I was posting it because it's like, I wanted to share, because since it was just for me, I wanted to share with all my friends going, hey, look what I did, and that always made it fun. So
I know I'm flashing the wrong things. I'm sorry, as I'm adjusting here.
It's reminding me of the Sunday morning news where they're putting in the wrong captions for the story they're telling. I've seen them do that. It's like going, oh, you're learning. Okay, you'll get better. And that's why it's Sunday morning and not, the 11 o'clock news or the 10 o'clock news or whatever the prime time is for news.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch news, so I wouldn't know. I don't even watch sports updates. Even when I have a bet on the game, and I won't say I don't have any bets on the games this year, because apparently they're not going the way I want it to go anyway.
I hate it when that happens.
It doesn't matter to me. I make the same money no matter who goes to the Super Bowl.
Right. Very true. Very true.
They pay me the same paycheck no matter who goes there.
Zero.
Yeah.
I know. What the heck is up with these teams?
Yeah.
We're rooting for them, spending money on them, and they're not paying us. What the heck, man? But I've been eating these little California oranges, mandarins. Oh my goodness. They're tangy and yummy.
I'll bet they're good when you're sick too. All right. Yeah. And I did, by the way, I think, no, I can't remember if I had it last year. Do you remember I think it was the first year I had COVID, like the first week of January. Yep. Remember that?
Yep.
I don't remember if I had something last year that made me sick, but it's like almost every year right around here, and I usually get sick. And I'm like, thank you, Lord, that I am not. No.
I normally get sick around this time too, because once open enrollment, everything starts to wind down. My body kind of relaxes, and that's when it's like, ooh, take advantage and get her sick. I didn't get sick last year. This year I did. I'm like, and I thought I was getting better. And then this morning, the cough, and so the cough's still there. Hopefully it doesn't turn into any upper respiratory, because 2 years ago it did. It turned into an upper respiratory infection. It was like, oh my goodness, I was a mess. So hopefully this year is just the cough will go away in a few days. So as long as I'm not feeling cruddy, that's all that matters. I'll deal with the cough, with meds, but just don't feel cruddy and no fever, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that warmth of some ginger honey tea, and the refreshness of cucumber, mint, and lime. And this ginger honey tea, I could also add lemon to it. Just a little bit of lemon juice in there. So a little bit of citrus is always a good thing.
Good. So, Well, you got to
So
do things to take care of yourself. So, do you have the magic bottle to show everybody? By the way, before I bring up the next subject,
this one, this
that
one,
one. Yep, we
this
got to
one.
show it. So we got to show it.
Dun, 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 dun.
You got to tell. You got to tell everybody what it is. Show them the
I
label.
present to you Lady Gin by Trail Distilling. It was distilled at Trail Distilling in Oregon City, Oregon. Yeah, I have a little bit of, I beat it up because I was traveling without it being wrapped up. But see, there's our logo, Like the Way You Drink podcast. And my VA made the label. She created it with Lady Gin. And it was distilled and bottled by Trail Distilling. And Sean actually helped bottle this. I was trying to take care of stuff. And so he helped actually do all the bottling of all bottles. So thank you, Sean. Appreciate you. But I did get some pictures. So, there was one
I
posted.
seen the pictures and they're on our Instagram page as well as our Facebook page. So check them out.
Yeah. So if you notice, this is a gin, but because it was in a wine barrel for a year, actually, it picked up the color, and it has that whiskey-esque. So you don't have that juniper-y forward flavor, which is what I do not like about gins. And the reason I went with the gin is because they have one of their gins is one that is more lemony flavored. And then there's another one that is more whiskey-esque flavored. And that's what I wanted, where they char the inside. It's like, oh. And so I'm like, yeah. So Trail Distilling, thank you so much. Appreciate you. The whiskey is probably going to get bottled in about a month, maybe two. Got to go taste it again to see where it's at. And then the rye from Quartz Mountain, that'll be not until this coming August or September, somewhere around there, unless we let it sit for a little bit longer. But this is the first barrel that came out. Pretty exciting for the Insiders Club.
Yep.
Are the ones that have access to this only. So if you are not part of the Insiders Club, now is the time. Go to likethewayyoudrink.com.
Yep. So we do this for a reason, guys. Someone was asking me the other day, why, Tim, do you have the Insiders Club when it's free to join? Because you have to tell us, you have to show us your ID. We have to know that you're over 21 years of age. That is the only reason why we have an Insiders Club. We cannot, all right? We have to go through a task to be able to ship things to you because of the fact that it's alcohol, right? That's why we have to have an Insiders Club. We have to have someone, we have to have a system to be able to, we have to be able to tell that you're 21 years of age in order to be doing any business with you. So that is one of the reasons why we created it. And that is why it is free to join. However, everything that involves into it, is not free. So like if we do an event at a distillery, all right, you have to pay for your tastings. They're not included. All right. But you can't get invited if you're not 21. And the only way we can send out invites to alcohol events is if you're 21. So that's why we created an Insiders Club.
I mean, this is non-alcoholic, but because there's that thought that it could be, because it's a mocktail, pina colada, cucumber mojito, they can't taste it in public because of that potential of having that thought that it could be a cocktail. So that's how particular the strict the laws are. So we are not going to get in trouble.
And we're not in this to break laws. We're in this because we like drinking. All right. And literally, if you're not 21 years of age, I'm just going to say this. I mean, and I had a drink or two when I was 18, right? But if you're under 21, the drinking you need to do needs to be under your parents' supervision. I'm just being honest with you guys. All right. My kids were able to drink, but they were able to drink in my house before they were 21. They were not able to go out and drink in public. Now, my kids are way over that now. It's no big deal, but that is something that I'm very serious about. Last thing I want my kids to do is to break the law. All right. But have consequences that come with drinking. It's a responsibility that you've got to learn. So anyway, I'm done with my preaching.
That's right. So go to the likethewayyouDrink.com and sign up for the Insiders Club. Yay.
Yay. So sorry, I was checking something on the. Okay, it's good. All right. So we got the Insiders Club checked off. Next thing we got to check off, ladies and gentlemen, is you like my check off, by the way?
I love it. Yeah, you've always been good with the checkoff list.
I wonder why I have a check on my.
That's your style.
That's logo. Right. Yeah. This broadcast is brought to you every week, ladies and gentlemen, by our businesses. So while it is something fun we like to do, all right, it does take some involvement. It does take some capital, shall you say, to do things like this. And our businesses are the ones that support this. All right, both Gladys and I's business puts together this whole thing every week. That being said, we're going to give commercials out for it. And you know what? In the new year, we're going to actually create commercials so we can actually play the commercials during the actual show. So that is something that I'm trying to teach Gladys on how to do. All right.
I know, because that is part of why we came together is that, it was the idea and I don't know how to do that.
I don't have the connections to go to the distillery and make gin. You do.
So we come together and we make this work. And Tim is amazing with everything that is online, with everything that is how to put on podcasts, how to bring in people. He knows how to do that. That is his strength. And I appreciate him and love him for that. I am so not good with that. But I love doing the research and the whys and the hows and the what's it's, and all the stuff that goes along with what we talk about. That's a lot of fun. And Tim does, some of that too, but he's like going.
I come up with a lot of ideas. You wouldn't believe how many of the ideas of shows I come up with.
The ideas do come from him on a lot of things, but it's like then I get curious and I start researching the why. Or what, how did that come about or what, and then I start looking at things, it's, looking up who's doing these things, kind of like the damp January, found somebody that is doing damp January and has been doing it. I thought that was so cool, so, being able to find those little nuggets that gets me all excited and really happy about our partnership and what we bring to the table. So we're here to make you laugh, share some great information with you, and hopefully you're learning, being inspired, being, finding new things to try out. So hopefully we're an inspiration for you.
It is. So with that being said, all right, before we go our separate ways for the night, why don't we tell everybody about what we do and how we help them in business? We'll start with you, young lady.
Well, I am Gladys Boutwell. I'm with Insurance by Design, helping employers attract and retain quality staff through employee benefits. If you're an employer and you're thinking, how do I attract quality staff? How do I keep them? How do I keep them engaged? Well, you know what? There's 101 different ways that you can attract quality staff. If you go to Insurance Design Pros on the upper left-hand corner, there is a white paper. My book is coming out over the next month or so. It's getting closer. I have to give the last finishing touches to the publisher. This is turning into a book where it'll give you ideas and it'll go into more depth than just the white paper outline on how you can attract and retain quality staff through various employee benefits from free to very expensive. So go to Insurance Design Pros. Let's have a conversation. And if I cannot help you, guess what? I'm going to find you a perfect broker in your area that can. And this is my co-host, Tim.
Hey, Tim Gillette, Simple Easy Websites. I believe that you should have a website up if you're in business. If you do not have a website, you're not in business. Period. Hate to say that, but that's just life. You need to have a website up for your business. Are there some exceptions? Yes, but we won't go into those right now. Why? Because I'm trying to push websites. Just saying. Anyway. Website is something you should have in your business, all right? And, a good website actually tells everybody who you are, what you do, and how to get a hold of you. A really good website, all right, gives them places to click, all right, and send you money, all right? And then you give them something in exchange for that money. And it happens day and night, night and day. And you wake up in the morning, get an email saying, new sale, new sale, new sale. We can take your website, whether it's just an informative website on landing page on how to get on a phone call with you, up to getting able to actually go out there and make a sale. SimpleEasyWebsites.com. You can go over there. What I'm offering over there right now, there's a website planner. I'm going to tell you, get it, because the 2024 website planner will be up in the next 30 days, because we're going to revise it every year based on what your website should be for that year. SimpleEasyWebsites.com, where if your website's not making money, it's time to fix it.
And guess what? Tim can fix it. Tim and team.
Yeah. Cool. So,
absolutely.
Any shout outs this week?
Just to Las Jefas, my lipstick, my taco proof lipstick, got that special thanks on today. Because even if I'm sick, I want to not try to feel sick. And sometimes a little bit of jewelry, a little bit of makeup, it will make a difference. You know, I got my rings on, you know, got my watch on, although my garment is telling me my stress level right now that I've been sick. It's been like really high. Even at night, it's crazy. But just those little things, you know, just like with, you know, drinking, putting it into a pretty glass, you know, sometimes doing those few things will make me feel better. So thank you, Las Jefas, or the Jefas, for my lipstick.
Cool.
What about for you?
No, tonight was really nobody special other than, you know, I mean, different people I met throughout the holidays who said, hey, man, I'm going to check that podcast out. So, all right. I mentioned Jim, all right, who was at our house on Saturday, and said, Jim, he said he wanted to check it out because he travels a lot in his car. And he said he'd love to listen to a podcast that's interesting. So that's what we're here to do. All right. I really do want to thank you, the listeners. All right. Whether you watch us on video, listen to the audio version, watch us on YouTube, watch us on Facebook later, it doesn't matter to me. I want to thank you. All right. 90 episodes we've made it through. 90. All right. We got a special coming up for 100th episode. We got to make sure in 10 more episodes, be here for it. All right. Already cemented into special guest for it. I'm not going to say who it is, but we have a special guest coming in for our 100th episode. All right, to share drinks with us that night and have a good time with us. Anyway, and I understand that person's about to put a brand new podcast up. So
nice. And then, of course, Sarah from Trail Distilling. It is a woman-owned business in Oregon City. Check out Trail Distilling. Get, you know, if you want to make your own, yeah, reach out. We'll let you know how.
Oh, and Sarah, by the way, you know, Sarah from Trail Distilling, I do thank you. I notice you engage with our social media a lot. We do appreciate that. All right. Other than that, if you know anybody else who is if you know somebody or you were related to somebody who is in the industry that makes drinks, alcohol, food, all right, and something that we can share in a podcast, by all means, reach out to us in 2024. All right. I think Gladys at likethewayyoudrink.com and Tim at likethewayyoudrink.com is actually great way to reach out to either one of us and find out more about how you can bring your product or service on the show if it helps or relates to what we talk about.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's it. We're excited for a new adventure here in 2024. Thank you all for being here. We thank you for those listeners that have been here last year and the year prior. You know, we've hit 2 years and keep going, all because of you. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. We will see you next week with another great episode. In the meantime, guys, cheers.